you know, either younger than us or, you know, passed and retired. So why not? You know, I want to challenge myself. The best always looking to fight the best and challenge themselves, you know, and why not, you know, challenge.
Terence Crawford can't beat him, right? This is a money grab for Terence Crawford. It's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy.
But if you study Floyd closely like I have, you will notice that he never wastes any steps while he's in the ring.
Terence Crawford reportedly accepts Floyd Mayweather's fight offer during a live interview with Stephen A. Smith. Crawford explains that for him, boxing is about testing limits and taking on challenges no matter how big they are. He emphasizes that the best should fight the best, and he is ready to step up once again. With calm confidence, Crawford makes it clear that facing Mayweather is another way for him to prove himself and push beyond every expectation.
Businessman, because this is Terence the businessman talking, right? They got to pay the cheddar to make it better, right?
For sure, for sure. All money ain't good money, so you got to know that.
Okay, fair enough. I hate to use the word easy, but at times it did feel like you were, you know, having a really easy time out there. Were you expecting it to play out that way?
Listen, it's never easy, you know.
Stephen A. Smith has always been outspoken in his coverage of sports, and boxing is no exception. When he praises Terence Crawford for becoming a champion in 4 different weight divisions, it is not just a casual compliment, but an acknowledgement of an achievement that is rare in modern boxing. In today's era, where fighters often hesitate to move across divisions because of the risks involved, Crawford's ability to dominate at 4 different weights places him in a unique category. Stephen A. stresses that such versatility and dominance establish Crawford as an all-time great pound-for-pound fighter. It highlights not only his physical adaptability, but also his technical mastery, mental toughness, and desire to keep challenging himself against increasingly difficult competition.
Terence Crawford is the best fighter on the planet. Pound for pound, he's that dude. In this 4-belt era, he is now the undisputed world champion 3 times over. 140 pounds, 147, now 168 pounds, claiming all the belts. You don't see people doing that very often. Going up against a guy who was perceived as being bigger and stronger, Crawford was strong. Crawford was strong enough to fend him off, strong enough to make him respect his own power. He used his jab, he used his distance, he had poise in the ring, he wasn't rattled, he backed up and moved when necessary and kept us different. He exchanged enough to gain respect when necessary. It was a brilliant, brilliant, masterful fight on Terence Crawford's part.
Roy Jones Jr., a legend who knows firsthand what it takes to reign across divisions, has spoken highly of Crawford's brilliance in the ring. He points out that in Crawford's fight with Canelo Alvarez, he demonstrated the ability to borrow from the arsenals of Floyd Mayweather and Erislandy Lara, 2 fighters who had troubled Canelo in different ways. According to Jones, this ability to observe, study, and then apply effective strategies makes Crawford special. It proves that he is not only a skilled fighter, but also a sharp student of the sport. What impressed Jones most was how Crawford didn't simply imitate, but adapted these techniques into his own rhythm, making them more effective in real-time situations. This adaptability separates him from many fighters who stick to one style and struggle against elite opposition.
As Canelo Alvarez has been a great fighter his whole career, people like Erislandy Lara gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. People like Floyd Mayweather also gave you the blueprint on how to beat him. But Bud is more fierce, more fearsome and more angrier and more meaner than both of those guys. So you know if they showed you the blueprint, Bud gonna go out there, take that blueprint and do even more with it, which is what Bud did. So it was never a question in my mind whether Bud really was going to outbox me, just if he could take the punch. And right away he showed, bam, he could take the punch. So I knew from that point, if he just slowed him down, which he did, he'd be okay. Then late in the fight, what other people still didn't see, late in the fight, Bud started hitting Canelo's body. One of those body shots, I think about the 7th or 8th round, hurt Canelo. I was like, whoa. Bud hit him in the right spot then, and he got Canelo's respect with that too. So Bud fought a very, very awesome fight, fought a beautiful fight, very tactical.
Very controlled.
Yes, it was a beautiful fight for boxing.
It was a beautiful fight. You know, Bud got hit with some shots.
He did. He did.
He got hit with some single shots going out. You know, he's going out, and you know Canelo, if he has you trapped in the corner or along the ropes, it's typically 1 to 2 big shots. You know that if you've watched him.
Yep.
So you could tell Crawford
as he was going out, he knew the one shot was coming, and several times it landed. He even got hit with a two-piece. I don't remember what round it was, uppercut right hand that Crawford took well. So when you started seeing him absorb the shots, if you're Team Crawford, you don't want him to take that shot. But if you started seeing that, now you know that, okay. And I think that's what gave Crawford the green light to stay there a little bit longer.
He smiled about it.
He smiled about it.
Yeah.
And sometimes that smile can be a lie, and sometimes that smile can mean what I think it meant for Crawford, which is, oh, that's not as bad as I thought it was.
The idea of Crawford stepping into the ring with Floyd Mayweather, even in an exhibition match, has sparked intense debate. Critics argue that a fight of this nature might undermine Crawford's legacy. They believe that instead of building on his historic victories, such as dismantling Errol Spence and outclassing Canelo, he would be chasing financial rewards rather than competitive glory. This perception stems from the fact that Mayweather's recent career has centered on high-paying exhibition fights rather than meaningful legacy bouts. Analysts point out that Crawford has worked too hard to risk being seen as someone prioritizing money over history. On the other hand, others argue that Crawford's legacy is already secure, and if he chooses to fight Mayweather, it would simply add another fascinating chapter to his story.
For Terence Crawford, it's just a situation where Terence Crawford is trying to fill up his bank account opposed to actually his legacy. This is what was being said, right? This is what people perceived. Terence Crawford was just attempting to cash out.